Welcome to the Relax and Enjoy Health podcast. I'm Andrew French and I'm your optimal health, well-being and equilibrium coach. This is episode number 5 where I talk to Sue Edwards. Today with Sue, we're going to talk about fibromyalgia, having a major life-threatening heart attack at 39 years of age, living with heart disease and bipolar disorder, and coming back to playing football. Not to mention the power of friendship and community. Let's get into the interview. Oh my goodness, thank you very much, Sue. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Andrew.
No worries, fantastic. All right, today we're just going to talk about, well, essentially we're just going to have a bit of a chat about your life and just some of the things you've been talking to me about, before we came in. The fact that, living with fibromyalgia for your life, living with borderline personality disorder, so we had these chronic illnesses and then, had a heart attack at, 39 of all things, which is incredibly young. And now you're back playing football.
Yeah. It's, I was kind of thinking about stopping playing before the heart attack anyway. I was coming on 39. I had fibro. I was starting to struggle, and then I had the heart attack. I started off my cardiac rehab. Eventually, I just got to the point where, do you know what? I don't like being told no. Moved to a new place. We moved up to Berkshire. Found a team that had just started working on a ladies' side. So I thought, well, why not? Here we are. I spent half of last season out injured, but that was nothing to do with my heart or anything. That was more. And I know at least one of my teammates is on here, and she's going to laugh. I fell off.
That's right. You can have a giggle.
I fell off my sofa at home, and I tore the CFL in my ankle.
What? Oh my goodness! All right, so take me back. What was your life like before the heart attack? Tell me, just describe it for everyone.
I started playing football in 1986 when I was 11. The women's game was nowhere near as massive as it is over here now. Obviously, you guys have been keeping up, I suppose, with the Euros and the Lionesses. We were nowhere near that. We were only 15 years out of the ban that was put on about women playing FA-affiliated games, so it was small. There weren't that many teams in the country. We did have our own FA. Always been pretty active. Football, swimming, rugby, you name it, I had a crack at it at some point. Kept myself, I'd say, reasonably fit. Hit my 20s, started getting a little bit lazy with it. Didn't keep quite the same levels of fitness up. Then 35, I got the fibromyalgia diagnosis. For a while, it really, really, really did hit me, and it really did destroy me mentally. All of a sudden, I'm like, well, hang on a minute, I've got this disability, and it's going to affect me day to day. I think it was partly, it beat me mentally more than it beat me physically, I think, back then. Because it's one of those things where you think, well, this isn't going away. It is going to limit me. It is going to slow me down. And, I started slowing down with everything. I still had an active job. I was a prison officer. So, obviously a lot of time on my feet, quite a lot of time running around. But I was starting to feel it. And then 39, I was out with my then partner. Funny enough, we'd gone for a coffee, and there was no normal heart attack symptoms. It was feeling that was a little bit like indigestion, and I was sweating a lot and kept wanting to burp. So there, just thought, oh, what's this all about? This is a bit weird. This doesn't usually happen. Hit the shops. I said, I'm feeling a bit faint. I'm going to go and wait outside for you. And then that was it. I woke up in hospital. And apparently I'd had a massive heart attack. The blockage was in the left anterior descending artery. Very, very close to being fatal. Apparently, I'd been defibrillated 12 times, so I've never been so thankful for a paramedic with a God complex in all my life ever.
Exactly,
yeah, 10 days I was kept in, obviously spending a lot of time trying to make sense of what had happened. Luckily, my mates were all really good. Up they came. Everyone was coming up en masse. No one wanted to bring me a bottle of vodka and a kebab or anything, though, which was really disappointing.
You just can't get good friends these
I mean,
days.
to be fair, one of my best mates did say to me, basically, if you don't get back in that bed, we're going to end up fighting, because I wanted to get up and go for a cigarette literally within 5 minutes of coming round. But so 10 days later, I left hospital, and then the real hard work began with a cardiac rehabilitation program, which the old me would have found very, very boring and very slow. But it was a case of build it up very, very slowly. I mean, I got told that I had my heart working at 60% of what it should be for someone of my age, and they said if you're lucky you can get it up to 70. And I can see the girls are all jumping in on the chat. So, hello, Burfield. How are we? Nice of you all to join us. So from there, really, it was just a case of trying to build it up and see how far I could go, what sort of recovery I'd make. I was lucky. One of the things we got told was that there could have potentially been brain damage, because obviously with the heart stopping, the oxygen supply to the brain stops. Luckily, all it's left me with really is a slight slur sometimes, and I do think a little bit slower than I used to. And there's probably a few people out there going, well, how
I'm looking. Someone could argue that it's just the fact it's football players, and it's got nothing to do with the heart attack.
Typical coming from an Aussie, that is,
Yeah, I mean, we said football. It's taken me the last week to figure it. Oh, I think she means soccer.
Yeah, sorry, bit of a language barrier there. Yeah, definitely soccer. I wouldn't even like to have a crack at your rules. It's a little bit too vicious for me.
It's seriously ours. It's practically ballet with with the sleeveless shirts. All right, so basically, going back to fibromyalgia. So you're 35 years old.
Yeah.
So you're diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Now, my daughter has fibromyalgia, and she said basically it's just her entire skin is electrified for her. And she went through a lot of stuff, and she ended up getting pain patches and everything just to be able to function her normal every day. So how did you go through with that?
It was difficult to start with. I used to be the sort of person that I'd balk at taking paracetamol, let alone anything stronger. The first thing the GP did was, okay, well, we're going to try and hit, funny enough, the depression aspect first, because fibro apparently drains the serotonin. So it's a case of, are you depressed because you're continually going through this pain, or is it your depression's making the pain worse? So the first thing we talked about was antidepressants. So I got told basically you're going to be on something for depression for the rest of your life. Then we looked at, okay, how are we going to deal with the pain itself, and how are we going to deal with the spasms, which is a massive thing for a lot of sufferers. They get spasms, especially at night, and that obviously doesn't do sleep pattern any good. So the first thing was amitriptyline to help me with the nighttime spasms. Basically what it does, its real use was as an antidepressant. Sorry, I'm going to go into my medical knowledge here now. Its first use was as an antidepressant. Then they discovered it does have a relaxing effect. So it's often used now for migraines, but it's also used with fibro to relax the muscles at night, try and stop the spasms and help patients sleep. And then it was the pain relief itself, which to start off with was tramadol. And as I say, it was beating me mentally long before it was beating me physically. I'm sure your daughter will agree, and any other sufferers out there will agree. It's a hell of a diagnosis because the stigma attached to it's unreal. It's a lot of doctors still to this day, as soon as you say you've got fibromyalgia, just start rolling their eyes because it's one of these invisible conditions that because they can't see it, they don't think it's there. The main symptoms I get with it is it does make me extremely tired extremely quickly. That can make me pretty moody. So all in all, I'm a bit of a stress bag, really. Pain can be very, very intense. I can be doing the smallest, absolute slightest thing, and I'm just in absolute agony. But then I can go out on a Sunday, I can play football, I can put as much of a shift in as I can, and then I'll be in pain for 2 days again, and then we're back to training. So we've had to move on a bit now because of my heart condition. I can't take amitriptyline anymore. So absolutely anything to deal with the spasms, just completely out of the question. Amitriptyline is actually cardiac toxic, so that's not there. So now it's a combination of vortioxetine as the antidepressant, pregabalin to deal with the nerve pain, also because it's got a mood stabilizing effect, so that then kicks in with my BPD as well and helps that. DF118, which is basically a strong variation of the hydrocodone for the pain, and about 8-9 different, I think, heart meds. So it's a heck of a chunk out of medication there for these conditions. So yeah, as I say, it did beat me mentally for a long time, but eventually I started thinking, well, it's not going away and I'm not letting my life go away. So I'm going to try and flip it on its head now and just try and work with my limitations best I can. But at the same time, I'm not going to let it beat me anymore. And if I can push the boundaries, I'll push the boundaries.
That's fantastic. So, I mean, basically, obviously, you're a fighter. I mean, honestly, you're coming up, in the, you got your women's league. I had no idea that there was a ban on women playing football. I mean, that's just unbelievable. The amount of stuff that, you find out nowadays that is just used to be classed as normal, and now, thank God, is not. No, but the simple fact, being a prison officer for so long before that, so obviously you're a fighter, you're a bit of a terrier, and but just leading up, just the amount, because I've known a few prison officers and they're not the calmest individuals in the world, so we're talking high stress factors.
Definitely. I mean, working on a normal wing, it's a whole different level of stress. I mean, I actually work with the vulnerable prisoners, which is mainly sex offenders. Yeah, probably 90%. So it's a different level of stress. With normal prisoners, you could, you can, it's different. Something can kick off out of nothing. And it's more physically stressful because if it goes off, obviously you've then got to go in and start using physical intervention. With sex offenders, it's more mental stress, because they will try and get into your head, and they will try and get into your head, and they will try and find out anything they can about your personal life. And the only thing really that keeps you sane is just your colleagues. Hang on, I've got a really good question come up here. It's actually from Laura, our vice captain, and she's asked me who's worse, the old inmates or my teammates.
Oh, good question.
I'm going to get killed either way here, aren't I?
not going to go, well, we can, oh, look, Laura Middleton, there seems to be a problem. She's no longer in.
Yeah, this isn't going to age well, is it? I'd say when you lot aren't drinking, definitely the inmates. When you lot are drinking, definitely you lot. Yeah, one of the other girls, NA7, has just come up with, I've done well with Cheryl, the inmate. God, I didn't realise that lot were reading some of the WhatsApps I put on the group chat, to be fair. Yeah, that's a bit worrying that she remembers that story. Yeah, we had a transgender prisoner in the unit who asked me, of all people, how to straighten her hair. And I absolutely didn't have a clue. So I went off to do something else, came back, and there she was ironing her hair. And she managed to burn her wig or hair extensions. So, yeah, that wasn't my happiest moment. But, yeah, Laura, there's your answer, mate. You lot are worse when you're drinking, and the prisoners are worse when you're sober. So there you go. Is that a diplomatic answer?
That is very diplomatic. Oh, behave. All right. So we're looking at incredibly high stress situation. I mean, we're talking that's like a 12 out of 10. So that's definitely contributed to, and also the lifestyle. You're just not happy. It's very, very hard to be happy when you're surrounded by that kind of environment. So how do you think your mental state was around then, just overall? Because it's not something you can turn off when you go home.
No, you try to. There was a saying about you leave the job with the keys, and you give the keys and you go home. But it's not always that simple. Some things throughout the day do affect you. So yeah, you do go home. A lot of prison officers really did start turning to drink. It was a massive problem within the service. I'm not sure about now. By then, I'd pretty much all but given up drinking, so that wasn't really a thing for me. Basically, if I wasn't at work, I was asleep. It was pretty much that simple. Long hours.
It's just
Yeah, it was long hours. It was quite stressful. So yeah, I mean, one of the worst things I did, and that probably didn't help my cardiac health in any way, shape, or form, was I was literally living off energy drinks and very, very strong coffee. So I think there's a lesson in there somewhere.
Yeah, definitely, especially if it's too much. And you see, I mean, so many people, you see them, 20-year-olds having, Red Bulls and vodka at the club, but they'll have 20 of them, so, it's just like, what's the record for heart rate? Well, I think it's 0. So, I mean, you must be one of the luckiest people ever to actually have a heart attack and not actually go through it in some way. I might go outside.
I mean, I was lucky that they took me to probably one of the UK's leading cardiac hospitals, which was one of my local ones. It was about 5 minutes down the road, so I think that definitely helped. But the bit where you wake up the next morning, you've got no idea where you are, and you're just in this white room, and you're looking around. It doesn't look like my bedroom. And someone's just standing over and they're like, do you know where you are? And you're like, no, I haven't got a clue. Oh, you're in St. George's. Right, okay. You had a heart attack. Oh, did I? Yeah, we had to put a stent in, and I was literally, okay, can I go home now then? And this is where one of my friends turned around and said to me, if you don't get back in that bed, we're going to end up fighting. Because I was trying to get out of the bed and get dressed, and yeah, that wasn't going to be happening. Oh, another one of my teammates, Naomi. What's my favourite quality in a player on a football pitch? How about not being shouted at for the entire time I'm on there? Favourite quality in a player on a football pitch? Working for the team. Not all about yourself and scoring the glamorous goal or getting a hat trick. It's about working. To me, my favourite quality in a player on a pitch has got to be the effort that they put in for their teammates. There's 11 of us out there, not one of us out there. No, Laura, it's definitely not your legs, mate. mate, sorry. Besides which, your wife's a lot bigger than me and she would punch me in the face. You see what I have to put up with? Andrew, do you see what I have to put up with? When I score, can I
know.
do it too?
I mean, hang on. This is what they call you? Oh, my God. So this is the support you're getting, and these are your friends. This is awesome.
They're great, right?
All right. So,
Nicole, I do have a goal celebration worked out for the first one, mate. And, yeah, you might see it this season. Depends on if you're going to sneak in there and steal my goal off me, really, doesn't it? Yeah, see.
Nicole, to be fair, I mean, scoring isn't really a huge thing in soccer matches. It doesn't really happen.
How did I feel when Nicole stole my goal off you? Gutted.
Oh, savage.
It was really savage. It was the only chance I had clear of the entire season, and in she sneaked, little NA7, and just scored it. I mean, yeah, she's right. It probably was going wide. It was...
Yeah, see. So Nicole saved the day for the whole team. So Nicole's literally the star player.
I don't know about saved the game for the whole team. If my memory's right, this is a game we won 10-0. But to be fair, she probably did save that goal because it was going in off my right, and anything that I hit off my right foot could just end up literally anywhere on the planet. So,
we're a lefty. Okay, so waking up in the hospital. We're in hospital for 10 days. You know, so you're obviously quite active and everything like that. So how tough was that for you? So.
It was almost like an enforced form of torture. I mean, I was on a cardiac ward, so I was the youngest in there by probably about 20 years. So I think some of the other patients probably thought I'd been hoovering more cocaine up my nose than the whole of the Rolling Stones combined. I was lucky because a lot of my friends were popping up to see me, keeping me occupied during the day, but night times, yeah, it really was getting me down. I had plenty of books to read, but I just couldn't focus. It was all, where do I go from here? Oh my God, how much is this going to change my life? You know, especially when the cardiac nurse came around and said, right, well, you've got to change your lifestyle. You've got to change your eating habits. It's going to leave you with angina. And I was like, oh, okay. That's a bit worrying. Both my parents had it. So, you know, obviously I've seen what happens with angina attacks. It can be pretty scary. Yeah, it was a pretty dark time for me, in all honesty. I mean, every cloud, I managed to lose probably the best part of a stone in 10 days because of the food, which I suppose was one advantage. Yeah. But yeah, it was a really, really, really dark time for me. It wasn't fun.
Okay, so basically the recovery from that. So, you know, so what did you have to go through?
First thing I had to do was a cardiac rehab course, which was a series of really, really gentle exercises to start with. It was just gentle stuff on a step machine, a little bit of cycling. This lot are going to laugh when I hear this. Running machine. I'm not noted for my running on the pitch. Yeah, it was just assessing my heart rate. I was up and down to the cardiologist for a while. They'd put me through MRI scans. They'd do things like heart echoes, cardiac echoes, things like that, ultrasounds, just to see what was going on. As I said, we were looking at probably 60% of where it should be. So we didn't know what was going to happen from there. We didn't know whether it would stay at 60, whether it would improve, or whether it would backslide. You know, I mean, most people, or a lot of people, they have one, then they're prone to having another. So really, it was, I suppose, damage limitation in a way. You know, give me the best chance of a fight in recovery. So I mean, it was dark. You know, no one wants to be dragging themselves up to the hospital 3 or 4 times a week. About the same time is when I got the BPD diagnosis. So it was kind of like two black eyes in one move, really.
All right. So the borderline personality disorder, is that a result of fibromyalgia, depression, and is it a result of just the heart attack? It's so what are the things going on there?
It's, in all honesty, and I've done a lot of soul searching about this since I was diagnosed. I think it's been there since at least my early teens. Some of my behaviour at times it just went beyond stroppy teenager. It was, absolutely ridiculous. My parents tried to get me to an educational psychologist. I refused to go because, we're talking 1988. The stigma around mental health then was so much worse than it is now. I was thinking, if anyone at school finds out I'm seeing an educational psych, my life's not going to be worth living. So, I just cracked on, tried to deal with everything the best I could. The fibro diagnosis didn't help. The heart attack didn't help because it sent the moods down spinning. And unlike generally with BPD, where you can go through every emotion in the world on any given day, mine were just staying low. I was angry. I was lashing out at everyone. My ex told me, basically, you need to go and get this sorted out. Luckily, my GP was pretty good, and she said, okay, well, we'll get you referred. So a referral was made, and I got told I had borderline personality disorder. My first thought was, hang on a minute, I can't have a personality disorder. I'm not violent. I don't go around, all the stigmas and all the stereotypes just start coming into your head. And then you read up on it and you think, well, actually, no, this does fit. I can go from high as a kite to as low as anything within 5 or 10 minutes. I'm my own worst critic, but also I can react really, really badly to criticism. If it's constructive, I'll take it. If it's just having a go at me for the sake of having a go at me, then no, I won't take it at all. It can just send my moods absolutely spiraling. So, again, that was another tough one to deal with. What was I, 40 when I got told I had it? So I'd been running around undiagnosed for probably 13, for about 30 years. So it's a bit scary. Letting me running loose on the public now would be a bit worrying. But good question from Sarah, who's my biggest inspiration.
That's sensational.
I've got a feeling that's my missus, so I'm going to have to say you are. Apart from that, that's really good. That's a really good question. Tough one. Yeah, it was my missus. Really tough question. This is going to sound really cheesy, but probably most of the girls I play football with, to be fair, they're all inspirational in their own weird and wacky different ways. And to be honest, our coaches, they always push all of us to be to be better players and to be better people.
That's fantastic. Oh, and that's it. We're just going to finish there. Thanks very much. That's awesome. But I mean, all right. So we're looking at we're going at the borderline personality disorder. It just an emotional roller coaster on a daily limit, on a daily basis. So how does that? What do you do to overcome that? I mean, so now you know why it's happening. You know that there's actually a reason for it now. So what do you do? How can you help other people with what you know about what you have?
I mean, the main thing to understand with BPD is you've got a series of triggers. We've all got triggers, things that can put us in a bad mood. The difference with BPD is we react we feel it 100 times more than anyone else. Every given day is different. So I mean, for example, one of my worst triggers is probably rejection, and that can be actual rejection or perceived rejection. And they're two of the things that can really, really send me into a spiral. So one thing I've learned to do now is it's not mindfulness, but at some point every day I'll try and listen to a hypnosis app that I've got. And it might be sometimes if I'm having problems sleeping, I've got a hypnosis program that I listen to Saturday nights to go to sleep with, so I'm ready for Sunday. I can listen to it during the week. It just helps me to relax. It just takes me out of that. Distraction techniques are a big one. When I'm at work, because it's fairly quiet in the office, I often just pop my earphones in and I'll listen to a decent audio book. Sitting around at home, I play quite a lot of chess on my phone or on my tablet. Yeah, games are a big one. Anything basically that can just, take me out of myself and, try and stop the thoughts coming in. Another one I do is I wear an elastic band when I'm getting stressed around my wrist, and then if I start really, really feeling it, I ping that, and it kind of brings me back into reality a little. So, I mean, with the high moods, it's actually a lot harder to deal with, because when you're on that high, it's a lot harder to bring yourself down. So, I mean, my highs are ridiculous. I just go out and spend shitloads of money that I probably haven't actually got, just on rubbish. So that's when my wife comes into her own, because she'll just look at me and go, right, give me your phone. You're not doing any online shopping. To deal with those, I suppose really it's just to take a deep breath and try and ground myself a little bit again. So she's just said, I love online shopping. Yeah, I do, but I go, if I'm on a high, then I will just go out and buy rubbish. I'll come home with a stuffed llama or something equally ridiculous, just because it's there. So I do need to take very, very deep breaths with that sometimes and just try and bring myself back onto ground level a bit. But the highs with it, certainly I find, don't match up with the lows. The lows are horrific, absolutely horrific. Self-harm is a massive thing amongst BPD sufferers. Self-medicating can be a big thing. That could be alcohol, it could be recreational drugs, it could even be with their own medication, all sorts of impulsive behaviours, promiscuity, sleeping around, again, spending money, that's probably my worst one, driving like an idiot, putting yourself in all sorts of danger. They're all different ways that BPD can manifest itself when you're in a certain point with it. So that's the problem. You're constantly fighting this war within yourself about, I want to go and do this because it's going to ground me again, or I'm feeling really low, I'm going to go and do this. And then there's that rational part of you that's thinking, no, it's not going to last. That's really stupid. And yeah, it's a constant battle. The media certainly don't always portray BPD in a good light. BPD sufferers have got a pretty bad name. If you look at the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, first thing that was coming out with her behaviour was, oh, she's got BPD. Yeah, she might do. I'm not sure if she has, whether it's been diagnosed. Equally, she might just be abusive. Not all BPD sufferers are manipulative. Equally, not all master manipulators are BPD sufferers.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, I mean, but it seems like you've got wonderful support and Sarah there. So that's fantastic.
Yeah,
so that's awesome. Thank you, Sarah, keeping her with us, honestly. So let me go. So what is your why? What makes you keep going? Because you're a battler. You keep going. You get up. You just keep going. You're just pretty much unstoppable, it seems of it.
Well, I don't think the alternatives really have a lot of appeal. I'm 40. I'm 47 next month. I'm not ready to be chucked into a wheelchair and left alone yet. So, I mean, my why is just I love life. I do love playing football. And one thing I really want to do now is work on inspiring others, not just in terms of coaching kids, but in terms of people that have got chronic conditions, or if they've got a long-term illness, or if they've got a long-term injury or mental health problems. You know, if one person can listen to my story and it makes them think, okay, there is light at the end of the tunnel, Sue's done it, I can do it, then that makes me happy. You know, that's why I am getting the story out there a bit more, because it can be done. We've all heard of what happened at the Euros last season with Christian Eriksen. You know, he had a cardiac arrest on the pitch. He's now just signed for Manchester United. What, a year later? So it can happen. It won't always happen, but even if you have to drop down that level, just keep going. You know,
it's fantastic. But you look at it. I mean, Sue, you look at it, just inspiring from people from so many levels. I mean, just the fact you started this conversation, you know, you started playing soccer back when it was banned by, you know, for so long for women to actually have their own leagues and things like that. So you've got that. You're married to a beautiful woman. So you know, so that really that cares for you. You've got that inspiration. You've got the inspiration of being in absolutely horrific prison officer, sex offenders, you know, area, and being able to not exactly thrive, but you survived. But that's something that you can take with you. You've come through a heart attack. You've come through fibromyalgia. You're getting through borderline personality disorder. It's just ongoing. Listening to, you know, the companionship you have with your teammates here, and how every single one of them, they're here supporting you, and they're rolling in. What are your three main aims for the 22-23 season? Oh, come on. Hit me with all the questions, guys.
Can we go one better than last season and win the league, please? That would be number one. Number two would be to actually find the back of the net. And three, to survive an entire season without falling off my sofa and breaking myself again. I mean, just, what can I say? Just fell off the sofa. I mean, wow.
Hashtag silly sofa from Naomi.
Yeah, I've had plenty of grief about that. I wouldn't mind, but I'd literally just been cleared to go back to training after having COVID. And yeah. And I had to sort of like tell everyone, yeah, guess what, guys? You probably won't be seeing me until the end of the season at the earliest. I've torn a ligament in my ankle.
That's it. You're in a purely support role now.
So yeah, there's
right. So with everything.
Oh yeah, and as Nicole's just very kindly reminded me, I was out with a back injury as well because I pulled a muscle in my back. Because sometimes I forget I'm not 19 anymore, and I do actually need to warm up properly before games. So yeah, so that was.
You just go out and break yourself. All right, I would recommend that you find a Tai Chi place near you and learn Qigong and help.
I think bubble wrap might probably be more appropriate sometimes, Andrew, to be fair, but yeah.
All right, so you're a normal person just like everyone else. All right, so what do you think is different about you which makes you have this just inner get up and go, that you just want to keep going? You're not ready to finish, and you know, you just want to just get out and continue and trying to inspire people.
I'm stubborn. I don't like hearing the word no. And to be honest, I mean, I know the dark places I've been to with everything. You know, I know what my mindset's been like at times where, you know, I've been depressed. I've been like, well, you know, it's literally felt sometimes like my life's over because I can't maintain my fitness. I can't do any sport. And what I could have done with was someone to just say to me, look, you know, it's not over. Just take it one day at a time, take it one goal at a time, and see where see where it gets you, which is pretty much what I did. My first aim was to get my cardiac fitness back to a certain level, to get through my cardiac rehab program. Then my next aim was to get back into the gym. And then it was, I wonder if I could still play. I mean, I started coaching. I worked with an under-11s team for AFC Wimbledon. Much as I enjoyed it, I realised I wasn't quite ready to stop playing mentally because I was kicking every ball with them. Under-11s isn't meant to be competitive. And then you've got me on the side screeching. So I thought, yeah, maybe I'm not quite ready to stop yet. So on one hand, I was loving it because I was working with kids. I was trying to teach them what I've learned and take the inspiration into them that way. And then on the other hand, I was on the sidelines every Sunday thinking, actually, I should still be playing. Let's see what happens with this. Let's try and get myself back to a place where I could potentially walk back onto the pitch. And yeah, that's
and coaches can't hit the ball.
Yeah, the FA have brought a new ruling in now where they're not allowed to head a ball in training under the age of, I think it's 12. It might even be they're not allowed to head a ball in games under a certain age now. So, because there's been so many cases of things like
that's probably not such a terrible rule.
Thing is, it's going to be hard to teach them when they get over a certain point. If you're looking at 14, 15 and they're only just going to learn how to head the ball, you're possibly going to do more harm than good with that ruling. It's going to do more harm if they're jumping up to head a ball and it's cracking the top of their head rather than the front of the head where they should be hitting it with. I can understand the ruling, and I don't want to sound too controversial because I do understand it, but I just don't think it's going to help their development. Maybe limiting it, but I suppose the flip side of it is it might help with the general foot skills. If then they can't hoof the ball in the air, a Wimbledon in the 1980s, and they're going to have to do something else. Oh, Naomi, good one, mate. Favourite current male footballer? Oh, tough one. Yeah, none of you lot are going to have heard of them, to be fair, because we all know that I support a pretty ropey football team. Do you know what? I'm going to go with Cardiff City's Joe Walls, the new captain, to be fair. Here's going to be the answer to that one.
Guys, you've got me at such a disadvantage. I know nothing about this at all. You guys are speaking a different language.
Favourite England women's footballer Euro 2022? I would have said Ellen White if she'd won me my bet, but seeing as she hasn't, I'm Beth Mead. She's just been amazing. Even speaking as a TAF, I've got to admit, yeah, she's been absolutely spectacular. And Sunday, I really, really hope they do pull it off. Best goal I've ever scored. Yeah, first one. Probably the first goal I ever scored because that was it. That was the confidence up then. And it was a pretty lucky tap in, to be fair. But yeah, they all count. Most spectacular one, probably edge of the box volley when I was at Wimbledon Town against British Airways, because that probably looks a lot better than it actually was. Have I met any famous ballers? Yeah. Funnily enough, I used to play for Wimbledon with Jason Cundy's sister. So we obviously all grew up together. I grew up with Steve Finnan, most Liverpool supporters will know. Yeah, trying to think of any others. Yeah, loads of the Wimbledon players from back in the day. Vinnie Jones, John Fashanu, Kenny Dalglish. No modern ones, to be fair, because I don't really go to games anymore. The ones that I have all played for Wimbledon, so I wouldn't exactly call them famous, more infamous. Was the box bigger than it is now? Feels like it's bigger now, but it probably wasn't because I was probably a bit fitter then. She's
got around and got there.
Who's my man of the match on Sunday?
All right.
Naomi, you, mate. You got my vote for it, so well done. See, egos.
Well done, Naomi.
She had a cracking game Sunday, to be fair. So they're just all trying to catch me out.
Awesome.
They're
Well
just all
done,
trying to
Naomi.
catch me out now, aren't they?
Oh, wow. No, Nicole Savage.
Nicole, you won it enough last season, mate. You've got to let someone else have a go occasionally.
Oh, look, pick me up, put me down.
Look, see, and this is them behaving.
How this is good because I'm looking here, and it's just like, family and friends. How is your social network, and how does this affect you? Hit me, go on. Everyone, you just shut up for a second. Let her talk. Social network.
I think there's your answer. No, I mean, honestly, mostly my family and friends are really supportive. I mean, sometimes when I said, I'm going to go back to playing football, most of them just looked at me and went, are you mad? I mean, I've had one coach, I say coach, throughout most of my footballing life, and that's my older cousin. It was him that taught me how to kick a football. And even now, every Sunday he's on at me, what was the score? Where did you play? How long did you play for? What did you do right? What did you do wrong? He over the years, he's been so supportive. When I first said, oh, that's it, I'm going to play football, my parents were like, fuck, but you're a girl, you can't play football. And he was like, no, she can and she will. So, yeah, the level of support I've always had from my family has just been amazing. My parents were both county standard, at least one sport themselves. That helped. So, yeah, once they realised I wasn't going to be changed, they weren't going to sway me into trying to be good at netball, then that was it. So, yeah, my family have always been there 100%. Most of my friends are there for me 100%. And I think you've just seen here what my teammates are like. If I'm on it,
honestly, the team atmosphere is really good.
If I'm on a low, these guys do pick me up. They know how to pick me up. They're not scared of stopping my ego getting out of control sometimes either. But yeah, and then they're not scared of reminding me that I am actually literally a grandmother. So they will have the odd pop about that. That's as well.
Fantastic. All right. So what would you recommend? The biggest thing for you, what do you think would give people the best chance of success?
The best chance of success, taking every day as it comes, setting yourself small goals, achieving those goals, and then going for your next target. It's that simple. It's just small steps equal the longer walk. It's a cliche, but to climb the stairs, you've got to take that first step, haven't you? So yeah.
All right, we're heading into wind up. So basically, we talked about mindset. You do pretty much on a regular basis, just centering yourself, balancing yourself, bringing yourself, grounding yourself, back down, whether it's, through hypnosis, just the certain habits you've got. Now, do you do anything nutritionally to try and give you a good chance during your day?
If I'm honest, not as much as I should do. I mean, at the moment, I'm still trying to get some weight shifted. So I'm quite into grenade supplements. What I will do is I will use glutamine and creatine most of the time. I occasionally have a protein shake. Again, I can't really get myself disciplined for that. And multivitamins. Apart from that, it's just really trying to be sensible. I'm lucky, really, because Sarah does make sure I have a slightly more balanced diet, whereas I used to be the older joke about Shane Warne with a cheeseburger in each hand. As I've got older, I've got a bit more sensible.
Oh, good. What habits do you recommend people establish?
Organise your day. In terms of anything really, it's being organised. Setting the time aside for yourself. Just even if it's half hour a day, just turn your phone off, turn all your electrics off, and just take that time for yourself. Whether it's listen to half hour of an audio book, listen to some music that you like, go and have a chilled bath. It doesn't matter. Just, take that time to just ground yourself a little bit. If hypnosis is your thing, do it. If mindfulness is your thing, do it. That's the first habit. The second habit is just get yourself into a routine. With me, the hardest one's been getting myself back into a gym routine. I managed to do that because I've just finished a 250-mile bike ride for charity over July, which this lot are gobsmacked about that I finished, I think. That reminds me, Laura, you owe me some money.
The bloody webinar's over before you mention it. What the hell? All right, now you have to tell us. What the heck is that about?
Okay, it was a 250
We weren't finished there, sorry.
It's a 250-mile cycle ride, which I did over July for a charity called Scotty's Little Soldiers. What they do effectively is they provide ongoing support and assistance to the kids of soldiers that have been killed in action. As a veteran myself, it's definitely something I really believe in. I do think they fly under the radar when it comes to funding and publicity. So, yeah, it wasn't all in one go. It was over the month. I averaged 14 miles a day, starting at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And I did it in a gym so that I'd have a soft landing if I fell off the bike.
But that's pretty impressive. Yeah, I love the way you left it till the last minute to just slip that one in. God, here's Sarah's on the side going, how long has she got to go? And it's just like, well, it was going to be now.
It's because she knows I can talk for Wales when I get started. So, plus she's got the dog up there, so he's probably driving her mad.
But I mean, you've done fantastically. You were shitting bricks when we started. So, I think you've done a fantastic job, Sue. Thank you so much. Now, what final advice would you give to people out there?
As I say, just get yourselves into a routine. Just take small steps. Every day is going to be different. Every day is going to be a challenge, but just don't give up. Just keep going. There is a way back. If anyone out there is listening that's got a long-term injury or long-term illness, there's a way back. I mean, there's Laura on here. She's come back from a long-term injury. She did incredibly well. So, listen to your body. Listen to what your body's telling you and just try and push it that little bit further every day and see where it takes you.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Sue. You're an absolute inspiration. And I think we're going to finish up with Sar's comment here. Happy wife, happy life. That final advice we'll give to everybody out there. All right, Sue, thank you very much for joining me today.
No worries, Andrew. Take care. Thanks, Burfield. Right. Love you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for it. Oh, hang on. Can you do a Suey before you leave?
No.
Savage. All right, guys. Thank you very much. We're going to wrap it up.
Take care.
I'm going to press end broadcast and we're going to get kicked violently out. Take care.
Take care, guys. See ya.
Tuned in today. Thanks for listening to today's Relax and Enjoy Health podcast with Sue Evans. If you'd like to know more about Sue, you can find her handle on Instagram at CockneyTap75. Your host, Andrew French, for optimal health, well-being and balance. If you want the bullet points from today's podcast or even for some free resources, check us out at www.relaxenjoyhealth.com.au. If you've enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or even leave us a review and a rating. If you have any ideas for a podcast, please send us an email. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Facebook at Relax Enjoy Health.